Today I'll be doing Neptune in the first house. Neptune in the first house, it's a very strange kind of aspect to have. It's really good for the person that has it, but the outside world kind of doesn't understand it. Neptune people tend to reflect back characteristics and actions of others. They also are kind of chameleon-like. They project back the odd and inconsistent, or if something is wrong and the Neptune person tries to show the other person how it feels when the other person is trying to make somebody else feel bad or make them feel bad, they kind of reverse it and flip it back to them. They act as a mirror. A Neptune first house person usually isn't super well kept. Most of the time they are. It depends on what aspects are to it. Neptune also affects the nervous system like Mercury. In ancient astrology, Jupiter and Pisces and Mercury are all in there together. And Neptune sometimes can work on the nervous system about making people very anxious. Neptune people, they have gray to blue eyes. They have this very cold stare. Usually, you can't usually tell what a Neptune first house person is thinking. It's very hard to tell what they're thinking, and it really drives some other signs crazy because they can't pinpoint them down, and Neptune is very fluid and it's hard to tie them down. Say if somebody has Saturn first house and their best friend or their wife or whatever has Neptune first house, they're going to feel the Saturn person is going to feel kind of scared of losing that Neptune person because that Neptune person is so fluid. Neptune first house also is very dreamlike, very they have high ideals, and their forethought is in the ethers. Neptune also has negative connotations. Neptune can bring disillusion and dissolving of boundaries, which that can be drug addiction, sex addiction, any kind of addiction that you could think of, electronics, sex, drugs, any kind of stimulant. Neptune first house can be right in there with it and influence that Neptune person. Neptune first house like to escape reality because reality is too harsh for them, because they see how hard and how bad the universe is, and how bad, well, not really the universe, but how bad like society is in general, and it breaks their heart. And they try to escape from that reality, and they try to go to a place that's a lot more peaceful. But drug addictions as well, common with Neptune first house. They can also have sex addictions because it's pleasure driven, because Pisces is a higher octave Venus. It can be pleasure driven. They can have many odd characteristics and people not understand them completely. Even the Neptune person themselves may not understand themselves completely, but they really don't want to understand themselves completely. It's kind of like an anomaly. Neptune first house people are very caring. They're very humanitarian, but they do tend to withhold to protect themselves because the outside world is very harsh to them. They can be very creative. They can be a very artsy person, always have to have music or art or creativity. Neptune is very creative in any of its signs that it is, whatever it's attracted to or attached to, or whatever house. Neptune will bring creativity. Creativity usually is in the 5th house, but it's also shown in Neptune characteristics also. Neptune first house people are sometimes, they catch the brunt because of reflecting back others' actions. Because a Neptune person will show the opposite person what they're doing, good or bad. And the Neptune person really doesn't care what the other person does, good or bad, because the Neptune person knows it's not them. They're just reflecting it back to them to show them, hey, if you were in this position, would you like to be done this way? Neptune can do many, many things. It can dissolve boundaries. It can bring you more spirituality. It can bring you gifts. You can be clairvoyant. You can be clairessence. It just all depends on what their aspects is to Neptune first house and what other planets are involved, whether they be square, trine, conjunct, or if they're conjunct to Saturn, conjunct to Mars, or conjunct to a malefic. If they're conjunct to a malefic, they may have more criminal tendencies. Not saying that everybody that does, it just has a possibility to do that. And also you have to watch where your Rahu sits in your chart to wonder what kind of tendencies the person may have in their chart. Because one person with Neptune on the first house may not ever get in trouble, may not ever do drugs, and then you find another person that has one aspect different than them in a different house, and they have a criminal nature, a criminal way of doing it, and it's all because of where the different planets sit in their houses. You cannot base your whole chart off of one aspect either. They have to be all used together. This concludes my video on Neptune in the first house. I'll be doing Neptune in the second house. Please like, share, and subscribe, and thank you.